advertisement involved. And then obviously designed to attract and engage with a brand's target audience through the informative, entertaining, and engaging content. So I'm going to tell you guys a few tips on how to use organic content to your best ability and how it can really help your brand soar. So develop a strong social media strategy. Identify that target audience, whether it's a demographic, whether it's like age, gender, where someone lives, the city that you're trying to, pinpoint. That's going to be your target audience that you want your followers to be. And then your new followers that are coming in, like you want them to be in your target audience and who you're trying to reach. So then creating engaging and informative content is also huge. As posting something is great, but you want those likes, you want those comments, you want people to engage with your post. So you really have to, think about what you're posting. Is it informative? Is it, hey, happy Valentine's Day? And people comment, like just something that's going to make it where people want to read the caption, comment, like, engage. And then defining your goals and objectives. I would say that when you start on social media, it's easy to just kind of post whatever. But when you have a goal and an objective in mind, it kind of helps you, navigate, like, what am I going to post this week? What's my goal for the week? What's my goal for the month, even year? And then that kind of will help you decide what content you're going to be posting. So then consistent branding. When people ask me my biggest advice when it comes to social media, especially organic content, it's consistent branding. People like the aesthetic of things. They like when things look aesthetically pleasing. So logos, color schemes, messaging, fonts, things like that are going to really drag people in, and then they'll engage with it and they'll follow you. So I have a few examples. Here is a good one where she's kind of promoting herself as a real estate agent, not necessarily her brand, or like her company she works for, I should say. So as you see here, these are multiple posts that I have on her Instagram that when you look at it as a whole, it is so cohesive that it just flows, and it really can make your social media soar. And so, she's using the black, the tan, the white, the fonts. I always say to people, use 3 consistent fonts. Do a bold one, a more simple one, like the one in the middle, and then like more of like a cursive font, just so you keep those all in line. And same with the colors. Just make it cohesive at all times. So even with the 2 posts on the side, she has informative content. She's informing people how to contact her, and she wants to help them. And then in the middle, it's kind of more of an engaging one. That was a slide post, and it's how she makes buying and selling simple. And then she wants people to comment, like, how can I help you make buying and selling more simple? And then this is one that we actually created for our client home partners. And honestly, like, same thing. It's just cohesive. Yeah, we have like a key and different things. You can make it fun, keeping it brand, just keeping it the same. And then another one we did for our clients for Coldwell Banker Island affiliates. Same thing. Some of them are, posts. Some of them are branding posts, and it's just helping, no matter what post it is, keeping that constant consistency is really going to make people make you gain followers. So the last one is engaging with your audience. Like I said before, you want people to comment, you want people to like, but you have to also reciprocate it. So if someone comments on your post, either shoot them a message or reply on that post, depending on what they're asking. And when it comes to, like I said, holiday posts, things like that, people like that personal aspect when it's not all just business. So like a happy Valentine's Day, if someone comments, comment back. Things like that will really get you like a huge following and make your followers excited for what you're going to post. All right, Colton, take it off.
Awesome. Thank you, Callie. So now jumping in, obviously, the digital advertising side, or for what some of you may call the paid advertising side. So before we kind of dive into the nuts and bolts and get granular with tactics and best practices, we always try to put these 2 services in tandem for our clients because they work so well collaboratively. And organic social media of day-to-day posting and consistent cadence of content distribution paired with targeted ad campaigns and targeted initiatives that really have a hard call to action behind it, can really allow you to maximize your efforts and yield the greatest results from a digital landscape and a digital kind of platform success rate, if you will. So moving on to the next slide here, wanted to present you guys with just a kind of a little bit of a high level of where digital advertising stands today and where it's heading. I mean, if you look back at the real estate industry 10 years ago, maybe even a little bit less, the advertising landscape and the tactics that you guys probably took day to day are drastically different than what's being recommended in now, and what is kind of the best practice in that regard. And that's because these platforms, as Callie alluded to on the organic social side, have such a massive reach, and there's such a massive audience out there that you can put your content directly in front of. In addition to that massive amount of potential, that's also extremely cost efficient and cost effective. You can spend very little amount of money to yield very, very strong results. There's strategies out there where they say for $1 a day, you can turn your social efforts into a really strong sales funnel. And that's absolutely true. You can spend on platforms like Facebook and Google, which we'll get in here too in the coming slides, very little amounts of budgets to yield very strong reach, engagement, all the way through to generating leads. That kind of segues perfectly into that potential engagement and driving clicks and those comments and those likes on an enhanced basis, as Callie described in the prior slides on the organic side. Putting a little bit of an ad allocation and funds behind it can go a very long way. And then finally is the simplicity and execution, is that these platforms have really allowed business owners and business professionals to figure out how to become ad specialists too. Obviously, there's nerds like me out there that could execute these ads at a high level and know the nuances of the platforms. But even from a holistic aspect of just being able to execute a best-in-class campaign, or to boost your bottom line, even in a substantial space using advertising, you could absolutely do that on your own. So the simplicity in that execution is a very viable avenue compared to traditional advertising pathways that have been used in the past. Taking a look now at kind of the networks, and we kind of like to call this the big four here of advertising channels specifically, and how they're positioned here alludes to their capabilities as well. So Facebook owns Instagram. So when you publish a Facebook campaign, you are actually being able to target consumers across both of those platforms. The same can be said for Google owning YouTube. You could use Google's ads platform to run video-centric YouTube campaigns. All four of these channels have massive reach, obviously, and we'll kind of dive into the different respective ways in which they can be optimized. But obviously, Facebook is king and has been king for a while now, and is very kind of display-based platform, we'd call it, where you can put really nice graphics out there, either static or dynamic with video content, and reach the masses. Instagram, very similar as well in its capabilities, but the difference there is demographic. Instagram is obviously a younger demographic, a younger audience. Maybe you call them the next generation of consumers, if you will. And using Facebook's Business Manager and ads platform, you can execute campaigns that reach both of those different segments. On the Google side of things, Google is pretty unique in the way that they execute their ads, because they really strive to be text-based and search-focused. So whereas Facebook and Instagram ads would be placed on the social feeds that you as a social user scroll through every single day, Google is more focused on that consumer typing in real estate professionals near me, or the best real estate agents near Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and then ads being placed in front of that individual based on their search terms. So that's a really good way to kind of work more in the middle and lower edges of your funnel, closer to conversion, compared to the passive routes that Facebook and Instagram may offer. And then the fourth one there with YouTube, again, has the same sort of kind of targeting techniques that I just described for Google, given Google owns that platform. But the difference is, obviously, this is all video based, as YouTube is an all video channel. And it's a little bit more passive in the way of it's played before your YouTube video comes up, or on the side as a recommended YouTube video as you're watching something in stream. Obviously, with kind of how streaming television and where everything is headed there, we're kind of a little bit away from cable, as we're seeing in the trends today. YouTube will continue to grow and continue to get bigger, and their ad platform should grow with it. that these 4 channels here really cover all grounds, of the text space from Google and those lower funnel targets to the massive amount of audience and the passive way to reach them on Facebook and Instagram, and kind of the top trending video centric platform that YouTube allows. So really gets you a best of both worlds of the best ways to target today with Facebook and Instagram, and kind of where the future could lie with Google and YouTube. In addition to these 4 channels, obviously there's a multitude of others out there that you could pursue, and based off of kind of your business and your niche and where you want to represent your brand, could be more viable than those big 4 that we talked about on the prior slide. So here's kind of a look at those best in class ones there. Obviously, as Callie described in a great fashion, that TikTok is very, very trending in an upwards direction. And honestly, I think it's safe to say that could become the next part of that big 4 long term as they continue to build up and ramp up their ad platform. LinkedIn and Twitter have a huge amount of reach as well, obviously, but they can be a little bit more expensive than those first 4 that we alluded to, and it's just a little bit more costly to reach the same number of people, if you will, on Facebook and Instagram. LinkedIn has that very specific professional focus that in some industries and some verticals that would bode better than those other channels that we described, but with what we've seen across our vast portfolio of real estate and housing clients, Facebook, Instagram, Google, and YouTube have always resonated the most and garnered the greatest traction, but still wanted to convey some other worthwhile options for you all today. When we talk about the ways of advertising, kind of the focal points, if you will, there's really 3 legs to this stool. And the one there on the left is brand building. The one in the center you see is lead generation. And the third is driving engagement. And what these do are really 3 different objectives, if you will, of what you could accomplish with your campaigns. So if you're just trying to build brand, you're just trying to get your name out there in the local audience and really try to reach a more massive audience than word of mouth or any traditional marketing avenues could yield for you, brand building is a great way to go, as you can put a very little amount of spend into platforms like Facebook and Instagram and have a great looking graphic like Callie showed previously put in front of thousands and thousands of people all around you. The great aspect of these channels is you can actually what's called geofencing, or put a 1 mile target radius around your home and your location up to 50 miles and target states, if you will, wide. Of a broader audience. So really, if you want to reach a very specific and niche demographic or a massive one, these platforms give you the ability to do so, which obviously helps dramatically when it comes to building brand and just getting eyeballs seen on your content and your business. The second one I'll shift over to is engagement, which is another one of a kind of a softer call to action, if you will, which is driving those comments, those likes, those shares across your social platforms and across your posts. So this really kind of focuses even on kind of the clicks aspect of driving traffic to your website, anything that would allow the user to take an action on your piece of content that will hopefully yield business success and business results. You can still reach a very large audience here doing engagement as well, which is why for our real estate clients, we typically only focus more so on the engagement and the lead generation side, which I'll get into in a second. But that engagement aspect can really still get a ton of eyeballs on your content, but also allow them to take that extra step, add a little bit more friction in the funnel, if you will, to engage with your business and become more of brand preference than just brand awareness or brand building. And then finally, that third leg of the stool here, and obviously pretty self-explanatory, is lead generation. What all you guys are trying to do on a day-to-day basis is just get more leads into your database and get more engagement from new contacts to generate new business. There's really 2 fantastic ways that this can be done, which I'll kind of dive into on the next slide here. But lead generation focuses on putting content in front of these targets on both of these platforms and having them provide their contact information or go to your landing page and fill out the contact form in order for you to follow up with them and then ultimately convert them into a sale. So again, you have really a soft call to action with brand building, a softer one in engagement with still that extra action being involved, and then the final step, if you will, of lead generation and really getting closer to that sale. To kind of break that down a little bit further, obviously I described this pretty extensively when we were looking at the stool there further, but to really hone in on the lead generation side and that third bullet point that you see here, one of the great aspects, given that lead generation is so crucial in advertising today, is Facebook and Google allow for versatile kind of execution of those campaigns. And what Facebook has a process called instant lead forms, which you may have seen it scrolling through your social feed on a day-to-day basis of purchasing clothing from your favorite merchandiser or anything of such, where you click on a button or a call to action in an ad, or you swipe up in a story, and you're presented with an instant form. It asks you for your name, your phone number, your email address, whatever have you, and you're able to submit that, all while staying in the ecosphere of the social platform, all while staying on Facebook. This is a very, very worthwhile tactic that we roll out for the vast majority of our clients, because again, it doesn't require the consumer to leave the platform and go to a landing page or go to a different destination. They can stay right in the Facebook and Instagram feeds that they were scrolling through naturally, but you can still obtain that contact information as the agent or as the business professional in your guys' case, where you can follow up with them and then hopefully convert them into a sale down the line. So that's a very, very efficient and effective way to yield a high quantity of leads. Whereas the landing page funnels, or the landing page forms, if you will, take that extra step of action of the consumer clicks on your call to action in your ads, goes to your website or your landing page, and then submits that inquiry form. They submit their name, email, phone number, maybe provide with kind of what areas that they'd like to live or what their kind of budget is and what they're looking for in their future home. You can get additional information there on the landing page, and then you can follow up with them as you see fit. So if I were to kind of just compare and contrast those two lead gen avenues, the instant lead forms are much high quantity, much more cost efficient, but the landing page funnels can be a lot higher quality of lead. Even though they might be more expensive, they more than likely will lead to more sales, and you may even see a higher return on investment in that regard, which obviously overall makes that a more cost efficient effort. So two very viable pathways that we recommend clients and business professionals like yourself test and see what resonates the most with your local audience. But that's a very, very proficient way to generate a high quantity of quality leads in very little time even. So when we talk about those three legs of the stool, kind of revisiting this graphic here, we also position the logos to show you guys exactly which platforms are kind of optimized or molded with that objective in mind. So when it comes to the brand building and comes to that kind of passive, softer call to action, if you will, of just getting your business in front of individuals on a massive rate, YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram, those very visual and display-centric platforms are going to be your best bet. On the second side, with driving engagement, where we're looking for clicks, we're looking for comments, we're looking for anything of an additional action item that your target demographic takes, that can be found on Google, Facebook, and Instagram primarily. Those will be kind of your key actions. And the reasoning why that is because YouTube obviously doesn't really have hard call to actions directly on their videos, and it passes through directly to whatever content you're trying to see. Whereas Google, Facebook, Instagram, a little bit more up in your face, if you will, and requires you to take that extra step. And then finally, from the lead generation side, again, focusing on kind of those better engaged platforms, those better ones that require the consumer to take action or are able to with just a click of their button, click of their thumb, even on the phone or a mobile device. Instagram and Facebook allow for those instant form capabilities like I just described on the previous slide. And Google has the ability to just funnel interested consumers that are searching for solutions that your business may offer directly to your website. They just click on the link, they go to the form, and they can fill it out from there. And you know they're already actively searching. You know that they're lower in the funnel of a target, if you will. Switching over to the next one here. To break it down further, and we provided some obviously brand building assets, if you will, that we've developed for the Alliance in the past to just showcase the great work the organization is doing. And the Alliance obviously is a great effort for us and was a great opportunity. We were able to kind of help build a brand from scratch and really start from the ground up, where a lot of you out there probably already have a brand built in some capacity. You're probably all on very different levels of just getting started at 20 plus years in the industry, where you're known really well around the local demographic. These digital advertising channels can help you at any point in that spectrum, whether you are starting from scratch or whether you're already a local real estate hero, so to speak, and a celebrity in that regard. You can find a lot of great engagement and reach and build that brand to a whole other level by taking advantage of these platforms. So again, reaching a massive audience with very little in spend, we're seeing an average of reaching thousands of individuals across Facebook, Instagram, Google, and YouTube, spending as little as $3. So to talk about being able to get 1,000+ eyeballs on your content and on your brand for $3 kind of speaks for itself of where it could go if you had more budget, and where it could take you if you had specific initiatives that you wanted to drive and specific call to actions to generate engagement with your brand and your business. So again, this is kind of real life instances of what we help the Alliance kind of grow to generate membership and generate engagement across the social platforms that you guys are all audience members and followers of. And those similar tactics and best practices can absolutely be applied to businesses at any level. Taking another step further, looking at kind of the next leg of the stool, if you will, of that engagement, here's kind of 2 life examples that we've worked with an apartment rental company and townhome rental company here in Pittsburgh. And they own an extensive amount of complexes right around some of the kind of the key universities that we have here locally, like the University of Pittsburgh and Duquesne. And our goal there was to drive social engagement, and not only to reach this younger demographic, these potential renters, if you will, but also to click to look at their site, to look at the inventory that they have in their apartments, and kind of take those different initiatives a step further. So for all of you out there, this could work very similarly of doing a home tour, as Callie alluded to in her prior example, and showcasing one of your new listings and having them comment of what their favorite aspect of that home was, or clicking on the landing page to learn more about that offering and see if it makes sense for them, that they'd want to pursue it, or even running kind of listing campaigns, if you will, of now is the best time to sell your home, or now is the time to take advantage of your local market, and getting them to click and go to your website and learn more about kind of those localized trends or any content that you're putting out there. So again, this engagement is focusing on commenting, liking, or sharing within the social platforms, but also can take a step further of what that consumer could do of clicking and driving more engagement there. And then finally, from the lead generation side, and as I described prior, if none of you guys have ever kind of come in contact with an instant lead form, this is a live look at what it looks like. So a consumer would click on an ad, a really good graphic like you saw in the prior slides, and they would be presented with this instant form where they obviously would have to input their contact information of name, email, and phone number, but you can also build it out to ask some really worthwhile upfront and custom questions like you see here all the way on the left-hand side. So we're actually inquiring for home partners, in this instance is a client of ours focused on kind of renting and rent timelines, if you will, that we're asking what their timeline is, how interested they are as a possible renter, and what their target rent price is in that regard. So we're able to feed this information directly to home partners and some of the other brokerages that we work with as a partnership in this program. And we're able to give them right up front information of how viable this lead seems to be. Do they have the budget to work in this program and be kind of a worthwhile and high quality lead? And are they actively looking to figure this out sooner rather than later, and aren't kind of just a looky-loo, if you will, as you allude to in kind of the real estate industry, and going to take time to convert. So again, from a real estate perspective, you could ask what kind of markets they're looking or interested in, how soon they think they'd be looking to move or sell their property, how big their family size is, if you want to ask for the amount of beds and baths that they would want in their potential property. There's a lot that can be done here with customization, but it still allows for that instant aspect of engaging with this directly in the social platform and not having to go to a landing page or leave the channel, which could cause a drop off and cause that lead flow to be lessened. So again, a very cost efficient way to obtain a high quantity of leads is what this hits home with. And then on the other side with the landing page funnels, like we talked about, the compare and contrast of this compared to the instant forms is the high quality aspect that this offers. So a consumer sees a great graphic placed on their Instagram or social media feed. They click on it and they are driven to your website, your landing page, where a form can be presented like this. This is a landing page that we developed with a client in mind with one of our internal platforms that allows for landing page customization. So we're driving consumers to a page like this that has that harder call to action of filling out the form, but also can provide more information along the way too. It's obviously hard to convey a bulleted graphic or an extensive list of requirements, like you kind of see here in the bottom of the screenshot on one simple social post. So migrating those individuals over to a landing page where you have more room to work with, more content that could be shared, but still contain that lead form or that call to action to build out your pipeline and database. And again, the extra steps or friction involved in these funnels lessen the lead flow, but do enhance the lead quality. So over time, you can see what your return on investment is with these ad campaigns. And if your landing page, yeah, maybe it's taking a little bit more to generate a lead, but they're closing at a higher rate than the instant forms, this could be a more viable avenue for you. So both can be very worthwhile, and it's just about finding what's right and what's optimized for your local demographic. So with all that being said, as it relates to the execution of campaigns and the best platforms that you want to pursue as a business professional, the other real drastic difference of advertising today compared to what's been done in the past, or the traditional models, if you will, is you can follow the consumer throughout every step of the journey. Using data, using reporting and analytics, which we'll showcase on the next slide, you can actually attribute every step of the journey back to pinpointing those as success metrics, and there never has to be a fall off. So it's no longer the days of posting a billboard out in your local community and just wondering how many people are seeing it, wondering how many calls it's driven, or how much traffic to the website that one graphic of you or that one sign out front in somebody's lawn has driven. You can actually see what the eyeballs on each of these pieces of content are, how many clicks it's engaging, how many leads it has funneled through, and all the costs per those KPIs and those key metrics that you look at to see how cost effective that your efforts are being and what that overall return on investment is. So if I wanted to hammer home one thing to you of why pursue digital advertising today compared to advertising efforts you may have done in the past, it's because of this really, really productive attribute here, which is being able to follow the consumer throughout every step of that first engagement with your brand to them being a repeat customer of yours, purchasing their third home in 30 years, working with you as their agent. And to showcase that a little bit more in depth here, wanted to provide you live looks at kind of the analytics and the reporting dashboards that these platforms offer. So on the left-hand side here, this is actually a live look at what me and my ad team would look at every day of ad performance metrics within Facebook. So you can get as granular as seeing a day-to-day basis of how many leads are generated, what those costs per leads have been, as well as demographic data of who your content's resonating with and who these leads actually are made up of from a male and female perspective, as well as age splits. For those of you that have dabbled in the advertising space, I will touch on that you cannot change the age and gender splits or targeting with housing restrictions today with Facebook advertising, as I'm sure a lot of you are accustomed to if you ever try to do ads yourself. But still, this demographic data allows you to make informed decisions on how you're positioning your content. So for example, if these graphs here in the bottom left were all skewed towards 65 plus and all the leads were 65 and plus in an older age group, but our client really wanted to reach a younger demographic, we could reposition the graphics and reposition the content in order to really resonate better with a younger and more youthful audience. So even though you can't directly target age splits and get specific with that, this data still allows you to make really data-driven decisions that can maximize and optimize who your audience is and who you're reaching to yield the best possible lead results. On the right-hand side here, you'll see a live look at what the Google platform has to offer. And you can see a breakdown of a day-to-day representation of how many clicks and impressions that you're obtaining, as well as the exact time frames, the days, and the gender splits and demographics that are engaging with that. So not only are we able to see top of the line, high level campaign performance metrics, you can also get granular as to the consumer journey and what consumers are actually engaging with your ads. So I know we're kind of, we're throwing a lot of information out here, and we will leave our contact information at the end here if anybody has any follow-up and wants to ask any questions. Obviously, you can reach us at mybffsocial.com as well, which we'll showcase again in our contact information here. But would welcome any questions, any feedback, any insights that you guys have or would like to share with us too. We often when presenting things like this, we'll talk to individuals that run into some advertising questions or concerns when they execute their own campaigns, and we are more than happy to assist in any capacity. Obviously, yeah, we love our relationship with the Alliance and have built something really special here that any way that we can help out members of the organization too, we would absolutely welcome the opportunity to do so. On the next slide here too, just wanted to share some of the useful links here. And I know Pip said that this is being recorded and can be shared in the live stream as well. So if you want to see any more information about best practices and trends in the industry, absolutely feel free, and we'd recommend to visit these links as helpful resources in that regard. And we can absolutely do all this for you. As we talked about a little bit at the start of this, we're a full-scale agency specifically focused on social media marketing and digital advertising. We work primarily with real estate and housing professionals all across the U.S. And just wanted to kind of put a face to the name a little bit further, obviously, with Callie and myself, and give you a little bit of background of who we are. And then this next slide here. So focuses on our contact information. And there's a live QR code there on the left. If you want to scan that, visit our website, kind of see who we are, who we work with. And again, reach out to us in any sort of capacity, text, call, email us with any questions or ways that we could assist you further. We would absolutely be more than happy to, and would welcome the opportunity to do so.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Colton and Callie. I know we here at the Alliance love our partnership with you guys at My BFF Social. You guys do amazing work, not only for the Alliance, but for, like Colton said, for lots of other real estate professionals. So we really appreciate you guys coming out and giving this presentation to everybody. And yeah, if, I don't see any questions come up in the chat, but obviously, feel free, anybody who's watching, to reach out to Callie and Colton here. They're more than happy to help you out with whatever social media needs you have. And with that, I mean, I think we're free to wrap up. I'll make sure to post this recording wherever and everywhere else we can put it. And thank you again so much to Callie and Colton for coming out. We really appreciate you guys.
Absolutely. Thank you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
All righty. Have a good one.